This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 12 and verse 5. And ye have forgotten the exhortation which speaketh unto you, as unto children, my son, despise not thou the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him. I want to start out by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father. Bahashem means in the name. Yahushai being the name of the only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. I'm the brother Ibad Amath from the camp COZ, the Children of Zion, back at you with another lesson. And this is going to be a message for those who are dealing with hardships, all right, or with chastening from the Heavenly Father, okay? And you might be going through a hardship or a time of trouble, okay? And here in Hebrews 12 and 5, it says, despise not the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him. Now, let me just get the definition of what it means to be chastened, or the chastening, right? And this is chastening.
Chastening.
All right, is the act of correcting, disciplining, or humbling someone through punishment or difficult experiences, ultimately with the intent of improving their behavior or moral behavior. All right. And so I say that to say this is that some of you brothers or sisters out there might be going through a difficulty or a difficult time in your life, and you may not understand why. Okay. And I just want to encourage you, brothers and sisters, to not only look at things, all right, from your carnal lens, right? You know, the two eyes that the Lord gave you, but you got to look at it from a spiritual lens, all right? And understand what the Lord is doing. Understand why you're going through these things, okay? And in doing so, you should be leaning more heavily on the Lord, fervently praying, calling out to him, okay? And asking the Lord to increase your faith, especially in the hardship or the difficult time that you may be going through. All right. We're going to face these things, these battles, whether it might be financially, whether it might be physically, whether it might be with something with your health. Okay. Maybe it might be something with a spouse or your children. You never know. Maybe you might be coming under a spiritual attack. You can't sleep at night. You're having bad dreams. Okay. Or you just, people seem to just come at you or be rude to you, disrespectful out of nowhere. You can't understand why. All right. But you have to understand that all of these experiences, all of these things that are happening, all right, the Lord is using these situations and circumstances to improve you, right? To improve your behavior, to improve your moral character. All right. Because we know what's coming down the pipeline. Okay. And, you know, you can't lose control of your morality, right? Of your righteousness or of your crown. If you, when you deal with things today, you know, you bug out and you lose control. What do you think is going to happen in a time of trouble? The scriptures tell you to be still and know that I am the Lord. Okay. And that means to have or practice extreme patience. You're going to have a lot of patience, especially today with the price of goods on the rise. You may not make enough. You may be struggling. You know, you living paycheck to paycheck. You might have to put half on the bill, right? Some people might bug out and go try to rob or steal, you know, start selling drugs or trying to do whatever they can do, you know, to get it, you know, the wrong way per se, instead of being patient, waiting on the Lord. That's not to say you don't do anything. You just pray, but you put your best foot forward. Okay. And you let the Lord handle the rest. Okay, so let me just get into chastening further, right? And it says, purpose versus punishment. While punishment seeks to inflict a penalty for wrongdoing, chastening is primarily restorative. It is designed to teach a lesson, reform an offender, or humble someone, right? Humbling effect. Chastening A chastening experience frequently subdues a person's pride or excessive enthusiasm, replacing it with a more grounded, realistic, or modest perspective. Right? Because you got a lot of people that are proud. They think it's by their hand and their hard work and their effort and energy that they made these things manifest in their lives. Whether it might be cars, clothes. Some people have a lot of women, right? Some people have a lot of their finances. They have large bank accounts, right? Material, right? Properties. Some people own a lot of homes, a lot of land, and they think it was by their own hand. So now they become lifted up with pride, right? They have a haughty look. Their chin is held higher, right? Looking down amongst most people. Not understanding that it was the Lord that did these things. The scriptures tell you that the Lord can make a man rich on a sudden. All right, he can bring you up and he can bring you down. But for those of you who seem to be, just dealing with issue after issue, all right, I want you to understand the spiritual side to this and understand what the Lord is doing. Okay? In your patience possess ye your soul. So you got to be patient. You got to dig in deep spiritually. All right? Hebrews 12 and verse 5. And ye have forgotten the exhortation which speaketh unto you, as unto children, my son, despise not the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him. Right? When the Lord is rebuking you, he's correcting you for something. Whether it be something you're doing, the Lord might be displeased with. It might be something in your past, a behavior that you might have that you're not even aware of, something you did. Okay? But the Lord is correcting you for that. So you can't go bug out and try to get, deal with things or find out your own answers. Do it your way. You got to do it the Lord's way. You got to endure, all right, that trial, that infliction, or that infirmity. You have to endure that. Okay? You have to understand that this walk is a trial of our faith. You're going to be tested in many ways. But it's important to understand and to recognize when you're going through these things and you're dealing with these things, you need to stop, take a moment, all right, and reach out to the Lord. Cry out unto the Lord. Cry out unto Yahweh by way of his son, Yahweh Shai. All right, give him the praise, give him the honor and glory. Okay, you'll have people say, they make mockery of the Lord, or they might say he don't exist, or they might call you a fool for saying, for you reaching out or crying out to the Lord, to a power that you can't see, because people nowadays, they have to see it to believe it. Or because the things that they see in the world are so negative, they don't think that God exists. Okay? But this is a trial of your faith. Okay? Because these minor things that we deal with today, what are you going to do when there's no food on the shelves? You see they're making water a commodity. And I'm going to keep saying this stuff because this is what's happening. Because you go back a couple of years, I remember talking about these same issues that the world is facing today, and people would laugh, call you crazy, make mockery of you, point the finger, you'd be a running joke. It's not such a joke today, is it? And so we could see where things are headed. But this is when you got to lean on the Lord the most, okay? This is when you got to cry out unto him the most. And so that when those things do come upon you, right, when more serious issues, when you're faced with, not even when more serious issues, but whenever you're faced with an issue, unlike the average person in society who's going to be lost, hopeless, destitute, they ain't going to know what to do, which way to turn. You already going to know what to do. You just going to lean on the Lord. Why? Because you've been through this before. You already know what's going on. And the Lord has brought you through once before, and he's going to do it again. All right? And you got to know that, and you got to have that in your heart. You got to have it in your heart right now and in the times to come. All right? It says, from whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth and scourges every son whom he receiveth. Right? So whoever the Lord loves, that's who he corrects. Okay? That's who the Lord corrects. And scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. Right. So the Lord is going to correct those who he loves, and he's going to try everyone whom he receives to make sure you're worthy and acceptable. Okay? Let's get this. Let's see what this is talking about right here. You ain't really go into it. It's all good. Right? Verse 7, it says, if ye endure chastening, God dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is he who the Father chasteneth not? Right. So you got kids, right? You love your kids. They do something wrong. You're going to correct them. All right. Any father that loves his children or his wife or woman, or if they mean something, you're going to step in to correct. In the same way you would deal with your children or someone you love is the same way the Heavenly Father is going to deal with you. But he's going to do it on a more divine level. Okay? There's so many ways he's going to correct you. All right? And just understand that if you're going through a hardship or something like that, right? You might be dealing with an issue or an infirmity. Just know that the Lord is dealing with you, man. If you're just going through life and you ain't never had an issue, you've been lying, stealing, cheating your way through life, through situations, and ain't nothing happened to you, the Lord ain't dealing with you. That's when you should fear. And as you can see, there's a certain people walking this earth right now, right? Who seem to be doing those exact same thing throughout the entire existence, right? Especially throughout the entire manifestation of this country. And now look what's happening. Everything is crumbling. Being hit with the same curses that was once put on our people, right? You so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, Hispanics, Seminole Indians. All right, you're the children of Israel. You're the people of God, but you can see the exact same things. The curses are starting to fall on them. They're starting to bug out. They're losing it. They on social media crying out. They've been doing this so long that, they've been getting away with it so long that now that they got to deal with just a light, right? A light taste of what we had. Oh my gosh, you would think they're being tortured. Right? So the Lord is going to try those who he loves. All right. He's going to deal with, if the Lord is correcting you, that means he loves you, man. All right. It says, but if ye be without chastisement, wherefore all are partakers, then ye are bastards and not son. Right. That means you're fatherless. I mean, the Lord ain't dealing with you. He don't care about you. And that can be said for certain people on this planet right now. So we've had our more than our fair share of chastisement, especially in this captivity. And for those of us individually who are crying out, who are repenting, who are seeking after the Heavenly Father, and you just can't understand why you're going through this. You've been doing things the right way. You haven't defrauded anybody, right? You've been faithful to the Lord. You just can't understand why. Well, this is why right here, because he loves you. All right. For as gold is tried in the fire, right? So are you. You're going to be tried too. The scriptures tell you the servant is not greater than his master. Yahushua had to go through, you know, his hardships. How much more we, right? Christ, he had to deal with much worse things than we did while bearing the infirmities of the sins of the entire nation of Israel. And he ain't do nothing wrong. Imagine how much more so us that have been sinners most of our life. Okay? Let me finish this out. Furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh which corrected us, and we gave them reverence. Shall we not much rather be in subjection unto the Father of spirits and live? Exactly. Because that's talking about our earthly fathers that we have, that we was born of, right? They corrected us when we went off. You correcting your kids now. How much more does the Heavenly Father, right? The Father of spirits. That's another title of the one you call God, whose name is Yahweh, right? He's the Father of spirits. We are to be into subjection of unto him, right? And to endure the chastisement that he puts on us. And live. And yet we're still alive here, right? We're still here. You still standing, you still breathing, you still eating, you drinking water. Okay? Verse 10, it says, for verily, Salakia, for they verily for a few days chasten us after their own pleasure, but he for our profit, that we might be partakers of his holiness. Right. So your parents might have, corrected you, gave you a little butt whooping for whatever it is that they felt you needed that correction for. The Lord is doing it so that we can be partakers of his holiness. What is it, holiness about? What? His set apartness, right? To be set apart. Because the scriptures tell you that the Lord is going to have the people who are his, who are set apart from those who are of this world. Right? This is his portion. The people that are indulging in the Lord's holiness, his ways. And what sets you apart? The Lord ways. What ways? He gave us that in the form of the law, statutes, and commandments. All right? And I'm not going to harp on that. But if you believe in the Lord, you want to do righteousness, you're going to follow those things. Okay? And that is a sign or a token to show the Lord that you believe. All right? That you want to do right. You're making a change. You're not doing the things that everyone else is doing. Right now it's the 4th. You got people celebrating the 4th. They doing fireworks. They're having a barbecue, eating ribs, eating hot dogs, hamburgers, right? You got all these things. And then here we are. Some of us might be doing lessons. Some of us might be praying. All right. It might be somebody's Sabbath today. Okay. These are the things that set you apart, man. These are tokens to show your faith. All right. Even you praying in this moment. There's a lot of people. Think about this. There's people partying out right now, right? Having fun. And you might be praying to the Lord for whatever reason you might have. Okay. Verse 11. Now, no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, afterward it yieldeth the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby. Right? Because when you're going through these things, it don't feel good. Right? None of these things, it doesn't feel good to go through some sort of difficulty or pain or adversity or hardship. Right? It's grievous. It's, oh man, I got to deal with this. But afterward, after you come up out of that situation, he said it yields the peaceable fruit of righteousness. You become better, stronger, more wise. And now you have a greater understanding. All right. Your perception is a little better. You're able to judge things a little differently. You're able to look at things. You can exercise patience more. All right. So, you dealing with something right now, man. Hey, man, the Lord is dealing with you. Just know that. Okay. So I just wanted to encourage you, brothers and sisters, to keep the faith. All right. And understand if you're dealing with something, hey, the Lord only corrects those who he loves. All right. So if the Lord loves you, you're going to go through some things. Just understand you're going to go through some things. All right. But while you're going through that, reach out to the Lord, man. Pray. That's when you cleave to him 10 times more. All right. So I pray you, brothers and sisters, have been edified and encouraged. And until next time, Shalom.